Hi everybody and welcome back to AFTV. We have some breaking news for you, some good news, and it's not injury news. It's to do with the signing of a new contract by one of Arsenal's heavy hitters, Bukayo Saka. Kenya's with me today.
Yes.
How are you doing, Kenya?
Yeah, I'm good.
And we're here to talk about this. Now, let me just pull up the details. Bukayo Saka has reached agreement on a new 5-year contract at Arsenal, and that is great news, Kenya.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know, we're talking about someone who is England's starting right winger for Arsenal. Obviously, I'd say right now, him and Declan Rice are the faces of Arsenal Football Club. And as well, he's an academy product. So it's even more special to have your academy product, you know, wear the number 7 shirt and, you know, become literally the face of the club and play that well. And the fact that we've been able to retain him is such a positive. So yeah, it's brilliant news, I think, especially considering some other things that we'll talk about later in the video. But yeah, I'm very happy, man. It's perfect.
Yeah, I mean, the deal extends his current contract till 2031. So it adds an additional 4 years to his previous contract, which would have expired in 2027. So immediately you can see from that obviously Saka even is a very high value player. The club were keen to get pen to paper. This is great news. And yeah, amazing. I mean, I think he's set to become Arsenal's highest paid player with this deal. A salary they're estimating in the region of £300,000 per week, which is nice money if you can get it.
I mean, we've not had somebody on that amount of money for quite a long time. I think one thing that we've done really well in recent years is that, you know, especially under Mikel Arteta, is that he's kind of gotten out those highest paid players, you know, your Aubameyangs and your Ozils, who were, let's be honest, maybe at the end of their Arsenal career. And we've had a very, you know, stable wage structure. But I'm personally quite happy to see Saka get that because I personally think he deserves it. I mean, we're talking about someone who's puts in his all every single game week, scores, assists. He's so vital to our attack. I think too vital maybe to his detriment. And as well, like, we can't ignore what he does on and off the pitch, what he represents as well for England. I mean, we've seen Thomas Tuchel come out and speak very highly of Bukayo Saka and be, you know, is very happy to have a player like that in his camp. So it goes to show the type of personality he is. But for me, I'm happy that he's on that type of money. I think he's earned it, and that's the right way to go about it.
And you know the amazing thing about Saka? I remember hearing about this kid from time, actually. There was a guy I worked with who's from the same area of London from Saka. I think it's like Greenford, Sandford.
Yeah, that's it, Greenford.
And he was saying to me that he knew somebody that went to school with Saka, and he was saying that he was an A student across the board. Yeah, apparently
he was a very smart
an exemplary attitude. So this guy's got it covered, all bases. So I couldn't be more happy for him. And the good news for Arsenal as well is that this latest signing of Saka sort of adds to a number of other players who have committed their long-term futures to the club, namely William Saliba, Gabriel Magalhaes, Mars Lewis Skelly, Ethan Nwaneri, and so that's a trend that we definitely welcome. Apparently, the club will now be turning their attentions to securing the long-term futures of both Declan Rice and Jurriën Timber, so if they can get that across.
Yeah, man. I mean, look, these are our core players. You know, basically all those players you just named out, almost all of them are first teamers, senior players that, you know, you want in your squad. And if you want to go on and really give this a go and say, right, we want to be here for a long time. We don't want to just win the league and that's it. Like, we want to actually establish ourselves and, you know, have a proper project that is worth building on. You have to keep those core players. And I think, you know, the fact that we're now sat here saying, you know, Saka's locked down, Gabriel's locked down, William Saliba's locked down. Because the reality is, especially players like Gabriel, at one point Gabriel was going to Saudi. At one point William Saliba was being chased by Real Madrid. And yet he's been able to lock himself down. And now we've got Saka locked down, where the reality is Saka's a top winger. Like, you know, he's one of the best, and he could play for a lot of other teams as well. He would be within his right to maybe go and explore if he wanted to, but I'm really happy that he's decided to stay, to be honest.
It's a sign that things are moving in the right direction. When you can lock down players of his ability and stature within the club, like I said, the likes of, they're looking at the likes of Declan Rice and Jurriën Timber next. To me, that suggests a club that is, the trajectory is upwards and everyone's aligned. In terms of his performances this season, I've got some stats in front of me. 19 Premier League appearances so far this season, 4 goals, 5 Champions League appearances, 2 goals. Would you say that, and he's got 3 assists in the Premier League and 1 in the Champions League. How do you think his performance levels have been this season?
A bit of a mixed bag, to be honest. I think if we look at last season, I think at this stage, Bukayo Saka had 10 assists already. And, I remember sitting there saying the way he's playing, he could generally go on to challenge that record. Obviously, he ends up getting injured and, the rest is kind of history. But I think, he's not maybe been at the level that we expect him to, but I still think there's been so many games where I'm like, this guy's played so good and he's not left with a goal or an assist, or, it's been an own goal that he gets robbed of or something like that. So I do think, there is a level for him to go up. But Saka's a player where I generally feel comfortable with that because I know that he's going to go up again. Do you know what I mean?
Definitely.
This is maybe Saka at his normal level and he's still got gears to go up. So I'm fine with that as long as obviously it happens, which I have quite strong faith in. And also I think what's nice about this is that it's a good omen for players in the academy to say, wow, look at this guy. He's made it through. He's got the number 7 shirt. We've got to think about some of the players that have worn that, like, Alexis Sanchez, for example, who's probably in the Emirates era, probably the best number 7 that we'd seen that worn that shirt. He's come in and he's not put a foot wrong. Like, he's a fan favourite. And if I'm an Ethan, a Miles, or even people that are in the academy, it's like, I have something to strive towards because this guy is the face of the club. He's the highest paid player. He is the guy. He is Mr. Arsenal, essentially, at this moment in time.
Yeah,
so
and they could look at him as an example moving forward.
Yeah, he's an example.
Even your Max Dowmans and people like that, they would look at Saka and think, yeah, this is the levels I can attain. And as you said, Kenya, Saka is a big game player for Arsenal.
Yeah, he is.
He's one of the guys. He's one of our go-to players. I admit that his form this season probably hasn't been as good as some in previous seasons. However, still only halfway through. And we have to remember he's been coming back from what was a pretty serious injury, wasn't it?
Yeah, hamstring tear, literally off the bone, which is a very serious injury. And it sidelined him for 5 months, and we felt his pain we felt it when he was out for those 5 months. We realised this guy is a massive player for us. Like, I think we kind of underestimated maybe how important he is. But again, I feel like other than that injury, he's overall quite a reliable player as well.
100%.
He's always fit. He's always pushing to be fit. He's always pushing to be available for games. So yeah, it's a positive. I'm really happy that we've still got our star boy sticking around.
Yeah, so that's the great news. Bukayo Saka, new 5-year deal, keeps him at the club in effect till 2031.
Yeah.
And I think that Saka could be one of those players. He could be a one-club man. I don't like to...
Yeah, well, I'd hope so.
Yeah,
it would be great if Saka could say, I've won everything at Arsenal and be the guy at Arsenal. And I generally think that would put him on to be a club legend. Like, I think all he needs to do now is just pick up the trophies and he can put himself into some really elite conversations
100%.
Amongst Arsenal's best.
And that's another reason why winning the Premier League is so important to Arsenal this season. It's not just a case of winning a trophy. It's about the sort of long-term future of some of Arsenal's better players, of the likes of Saka, people like that. So, yeah. So, Kenya, with the unfortunate news about Nketiah, you probably know what I'm going to ask you next, given that in recent days we appear to have been linked with Mark Gay of Crystal Palace. Now, what I'm going to ask you is, with this current situation of Nketiah and some of the other injuries that we have in the defence at the moment, do you think it would be pertinent for Arsenal to have a look at that situation with Gay, or what do you think?
I personally don't think we will. I think Mark Gay is a free agent in the summer, and reports say he wants to stay at Crystal Palace until then. So if he's still if we get to someone, he's a free agent. I think that's maybe when we'll probably try to accelerate our interest. I think for now we'll just probably wait out Nketiah's injury. Hopefully Mascara and Calafiori will be back before then as well. Hopefully we don't suffer any more injuries. And, if it's a hamstring strain, hopefully it's not as serious. It's not as serious as, pulling your hamstring or tearing it. So it won't be as long of a recovery for him, hopefully. But yeah.
Do we have any information on any of the other guys' injuries? How close they are coming back?
I think Arteta said before the Liverpool game that both Mascara and Calafiori are in their last stages of rehab. So hopefully we'll be seeing them back soon. And I think with Kai Havertz, it's more of just they're managing his, what's the word? Overload or load. So hopefully we can see him soon as well. But yeah.
Okay then, so yeah, guys, some breaking news, some good news, well, some great news and some not so good news. But the great news is that Bukayo Saka, one of Arsenal's leading players, one of the leadership group, captain, heavy hitter, as we said before, signing a new 5-year deal that takes him to 2031. So big up Arsenal, big up Bukayo Saka. Big up yourselves for watching, big up Kenya as well.
Yes.
Catch you on the next one. We're out.